Absolute Bedlam. Absolute Bedlam. Absolute Bedlam Podcast. Who? What? Where? Why?
Hello, welcome to Absolute Bedlam Podcast, a bonus edition episode. Recording 2 in 1 week, as seems to be normal these days. Video and audio this one, so that's fun. Recording with John in the physical world, my editor, my commander-in-chief, and soon to be my housemate for a couple of days. So there's quite a few things going on in my personal life, which I won't get into too much, because it'll be a fucking 4.5 hour podcast, and only Joe Rogan can seem to hold those up. So I'm moving in with John for a bit, and then I'm actually moving back in with my parents to save a shitload of money and actually take life by the horns and get a bit of financial freedom. And
Ben will never be Bonita until he does this.
That's what it takes nowadays, people. If you are struggling, don't get into that perpetual dead rent cycle that we're all in. So yeah, I hope everyone's good, and John is with me, and yeah, shout out John.
Thank you very much, Ben. Like I said to you earlier on, we don't just supply video editing, services here. We supply homes for homeless podcasters. No, I made that joke before, but I'm going to make it again. Fuck off. All of you, fuck off. I don't want no Joe Rogan's knocking my door asking for a bend. Fuck you, Joe Rogan. No, I'm joking. I don't want any impulsive people knocking the door.
Nice.
No power over that.
Nice.
But no, it's great to be back on with you, dude.
Yeah.
Live from my house. Always good to chat. Always good to catch up.
Yeah, man.
You've got some shit going on, but
Yep.
Life continues.
Yep.
Well, life for us continues.
Yep. Things
Unlike
pass.
the breaking news I'm about to hit the world with.
Oh yeah. Here we go. Buckle up.
Ben had to console me when he walked through the door today.
Yeah.
It was an emotional roller coaster. It was an emotional wreck. I could barely see through the tears. You might even say I was colourblind as a result of the pain that I was feeling. I thought I was good, but yeah, that basically, most of you won't give a fuck, but Darius Dinesh from Pop Stars, which was the first of those reality TV shows before Pop Idol, before X Factor, before Simon Cowell and his massive trousers, is dead. He is no more at 41, which is no fucking age really. And actually, he surprisingly was pretty good, but for all of the comedy, pop music bullshit. But Darius is no more.
How old are you?
31. That's what's depressed about it.
So I'm 33 next month, and that's not old. 41 is not old.
No. See, if you asked me a couple of years ago, I would have felt like I was old, but not anymore.
Yeah.
41 is fucking not old, man. And what's depressing is he had a music career, was in the charts, made loads of money, disappeared, did like Broadway shit, and now he's dead.
Yep.
He's only 10 years older than me, and I've done fucking nothing with my life apart from sell some albums to Belgian people who apparently liked obscure music that no one ever heard of. It's all I've ever done. Well, I had children, obviously that's something good to do with your life. I'm not going to downplay my babies, but career-wise,
I know what you mean.
I think it might actually be a joke of a human being.
Yeah, to get on the #1 hit and to create a song that, everything else kind of fell by the wayside as far as I'm concerned, because I forgot he existed. But to hit that peak that early on and to have that accolade and then to disappear into the darkness is a bit sad, isn't it?
It is. I very nearly gave you some shit then. I was going to say, fucking hell, Ben. At least I've researched our topics at points of conversation. But then, to be fair, you could have researched this because I threw it on you as you walked through the door. Yeah. That's the only reason I knew that he was doing like West End musicals and shit. I've researched it at Darius.
Nice.
I needed to fill that emotional void in my life. Well, fuck you, Darius. We're moving on to the next conversation.
Yeah.
You're not that important. We're not going to give you more than 2 minutes, you cunt.
Just on life, though, and age, apparently we're in the generation now where people are going to live to 150 years old. So 41 really isn't old.
It's not.
Like, medicine and, just healthcare in general has now advanced to such a point where we can elongate our lives by 50% longer. It's all obviously experimental.
But what I find really weird about that is that our civilization made people live for less time anyway. Obviously you go back to before the pre-industrial periods and the pre-Steel Age and Iron Age. You go back to before Victorian times and Tudor times, what have you. Loads of people lived into the hundreds, especially in like the Mediterranean areas and sub-Saharan areas. Loads of people lived well into their 80s by having healthier, different types of diet.
Yeah.
It's only been Western European countries and Australasian companies that didn't, because they eat shit constantly and have done forever. And there has been a high sort of oil or vegetable count in diets.
Yeah.
Like Italians always lived quite long because they have quite a high olive oil count. But it's trans fats fucking kills the Western age. But I tell you what, I'll throw it at you. How do you feel about living to 150? What's your personal opinion? If you were to live to 150, how would you feel about that?
So I think a lot of people, when they get to like 80, 90, they're like, well, what the fuck's left? And a lot of people have said, like, I'm quite happy to die at that age. Like, I've done a lot of shit at that age. But now the narrative seems to be, I want to die completely spent. I want to be a complete husk. So I want to throw everything at life, and I want to die completely, like, without any more further potential. So 150 is just an insane age to get to. I don't really know what I think about it, because it is very early days, and I'm sure, in a couple of years, if people want to dig this up, it might actually happen. So it's not really a hypothetical experiment anymore, it's actually a proof of concept. But I don't know, to answer your question. It's a bit strange.
Personally, fuck that. If life, right, I can honestly say, right, if life is equally as challenging and difficult,
Yeah.
and continues on the path that is thrown at me for the last 31 years,
Yeah.
fuck living to 150. I'll be fucking just an emotional husk of a
Yeah.
human being.
Yeah.
I would be quite happy with 60 and out at this stage with the way things have been. Life is a fucking piece of shit sometimes. Don't get me wrong, I'm pleased to be living.
Yeah.
Don't want to kill myself. I'm not depressed or any bollocks like that.
Yeah.
It's just living is ridiculous now.
Mm-hmm.
We live, well, I can't speak for other nations, obviously, but we live in a country, live in a world, and a society now where the next closest first world nation, France, had energy prices go up by 4%. Our energy prices will have gone up by 189% in the space of 12 months by the time we get to January. That's fucking insanity.
Yeah.
And I don't want to live... This sounds like I'm suicidal, I'm not.
No.
I don't particularly want to live in a world. I don't want my kids to have to live in a world, really, that's fucking like this shit. It's ridiculous.
I think COVID's made everyone realise how fragile our existence is. And it only takes, like, people to take home less than, like, £200-300 less to really be fucked. Like, the amount of people, no matter who you are, no matter what fucking job title you have, no matter what position you are in any company, if you go to Asda and you spend £60 a week on shopping, and then suddenly one day you go to Asda and spend £90 on shopping, that's a 50% increase in your weekly shop.
I think you've got to look at it in contrast as well. There's a certain denomination of people who spend £60 on a weekly shop, but they've obviously got different tiers of product.
Yeah.
So for like our level,
yeah,
like you might spend that kind of money and see that 50% increase. But if you're someone who's, say, upper middle class or going into upper class, and you're spending 3 times that amount, 4 times that amount in some cases, you take £400 shop and turns into a £600-700 shop. That's fucking massive.
Yeah.
It's a massive jump up. And it is just getting ridiculous. Obviously, some people have the means and funds that they can, live with it and it not be a major problem.
Yeah.
But we are not those people. Because like I said to you the other week, I used to shop in Tesco's quite regularly for my weekly shop. And I went into the Aldi in Paul. We obviously probably go past it. And I got what I would normally spend £120 on Tesco's. I got for £67 in Aldi.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show, if you just fucking drop your tribal bullshit loyalties to the things you're used to and the brands you're used to, and just have a look round at what's available, you can get through it, guys. So just be fucking frugal, be sensible, and you know, people say about get out the fags and get out the booze and stuff like this to make it easier to live. That is one thing you could do. Or you could just not buy massive multi packs of crisps and sweets and shit that your kids don't really necessarily need. I mean, I get my kids those kind of things.
Actually fill your bellies.
Exactly.
Like,
I mean, I get snacky things in for my kids.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's biscuits. They're not chocolate biscuits, they're actual biscuits. At least there's some kind of fibre quality to that. So they get snacky stuff in, but it's like, I don't really want to encourage that. I'd rather eat fruit. I'd rather I'm not fucking ballooning weight.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And batch cooking as well. It's always been a life hack, but now more than ever, it really is. It's not even a life hack anymore. It's more of a best practice
But it's
to
fucking...
do that shit.
Don't you find it fucking hilarious that people think that it's a new thing or you're amazed by it? When, fucking 2-3 generations ago, our great-grandparents, our grandparents, this is how they fucking acted.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, my mum's always done it. My mum used to fucking, cook loads of free stuff up that she didn't use, freeze ends, leftovers up to be used again. My nan did it. My great grandma did it. You fucking portion off and use it again. You're conservative. You don't waste anything.
Yeah.
Problem is, it's not so much our generation. Well, it is our generation and generation directly before it. Certainly generation after. We're just so fucking frivolous.
Yes.
Everything can be thrown away.
Everything's convenient.
Exactly. Everything's about convenience, about pace, about throwing shit away when it's run its course.
Yeah.
Nothing is sacred anymore.
No,
and
agreed.
what makes it worse is it's just a telltale about society. This is going to be a great segue into our first major topic point. Didn't realise I was even going this way.
It's good, isn't it? This podcast stuff is.
Oh man, this podcasting game. Look. But it's how we've gone from disposable phones, disposable computers, disposable electronics, disposable clothes, now onto disposable people.
Yeah.
It's everything is what is new and exciting and big in a moment and flash in the pan kind of approaches. Well, I remember what you probably remember saying, when we were kids, you fucking ripped a pair of jeans. You didn't go out and fucking spend another 20, 30, 40 quid on a pair of Levi's when you're a fucking kid. You stitched that shit up.
Yeah.
If it's fixable, workable, you do it. My daughter's got a pair of jeggings. There's a couple of little holes in it. I stitched them motherfuckers up because I'm not going to waste another £10 on a pair of jeggings when I don't need to, because it's frivolous waste of money.
Well, as soon as you give kids new clothes as well, there's that risk of, sliding on their knees at a birthday party and ruining the brand new pair of jeans that you bought them. So getting them to realise that, there's going to be a long period of time between that pair of clothes and the next pair of clothes.
I think it's an understanding a value thing as well. I mean, I see a lot of people on the internet talking about the value of money, education, what you learn in education. But I think it's not even so much about the value of money that kids need to be more conscientious about. It's more a case of the value of quality and value of life. So I've always said the same thing. I'd much rather spend my money on experiences than things. I've got nice things, don't get me wrong, but I would rather spend my money on experiences. But in the same breath, I know what things are worth because we've grown up in a generation, the last generation, the only generation that's experienced every single side of the coin firsthand.
Yeah.
So we know what it was like when it was 4 terrestrial channels.
Yeah.
When Sky wasn't a big thing. When the internet was brand new, when computers were only really becoming a big thing mainstream in businesses and schools. Phones going through every possible cycle.
Yeah.
It's just fucking lunacy, dude. I mean, it's interesting actually. You mentioned phones. I was reading an article earlier from the 50s in America, and they were talking about phones with television screens in them, and phones where you could text an IM, and phones you could take in your pocket when were being trialed and tested, but we were one off in the distance. When corded phones were like the newest level of advance to the mass populace.
Yeah.
And it just goes back to the idea, doesn't it? How much technology is there that's already pre-prepared that we're going to get over the next 50 or 60 years?
Oh, yeah. There's definitely a roadmap already set up.
Of course.
The Sky, yeah, absolutely.
It's like with the fucking electric car bullshit and emissions. People don't realise the government know what they're fucking doing. As much as, I would never say global warming isn't real, because it is. But it's not as much of a catastrophe as people are making out, because the fact they're saying it's a catastrophe now means that they've been planning for this for a good 30 or 40 years. They know exactly what they've been doing on the trajectory. Hence why we had the COVID lockdowns.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that wasn't designed to stop us fucking all getting it or anything like that. It was just going to happen as it happens. You can't fight fate. But it was designed to reduce emissions. Yeah. If you look at it, I mean, I don't know if anyone remembers it. I think I just had this the last time we got together.
Yeah.
I don't think I remember the sky looking so clear, if air smelling so fresh and the grass being quite so fucking green as during that period of time when no one was allowed to drive anywhere. Or seldom drive anywhere.
Yeah, I know what you mean. If it was a social experiment.
It was. I think they wanted to see how much the impact would be before they put, change everything over to electric vehicles where there wouldn't be any of those emissions. Problem is, what people don't realise is they're digging up the fucking ground for lithium to make these batteries, and it's doing 4 times the damage that the fucking carbon emissions are anyway. It's lunacy.
So, do you know when people go out to recce, or recce, whatever it's called, the wind turbines, those massive white things that we see everywhere, so they take boats out to the sea to put a fuck-off concrete block in the middle of the sea and they put like 12 wind turbines up. Guess what boat goes out to do that and recce it? A diesel-powered boat. It's hypocrisy, or whatever the word is.
Hypocritical.
Yeah.
Hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy, that's the word, yeah.
Hip-hopocrisy, apparently.
That's a new genre of music.
You know Rob Schneider in Big Daddy, you've seen that film where Adam Sandler's against a kid. Hip-hop, hippopotamus. He get the easy ones!
What's your favourite animal? Hippocrisy. Fuck's sake.
I like the little lisp you put at the end of that as well. You're such a cunt.
Such a character.
Alienated the special needs element of your audience, Ben.
Right, we've segued off a little bit. Andrew Tate.
Well, this is where I was going to come in with it. Because Andrew Tate's obviously made some comments about energy.
Everything.
And everything.
He's made a comment on everything.
You cannot fucking move for this man at the moment. He is, I think it's because he's talking about everything.
Yes.
I actually, I'm going to go out and say this, and I'm a pretty modern man.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in equal opportunity of outcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jordan Peterson. Opportunity of outcome and equal rights to an extent in their brackets, and I'm a firm lover of ladies. There's no doubt about that. But actually, I think the reason Andrew Tate's getting everywhere, as much as he fucks people off, certainly left-wing people off a lot, and I'm far from right-wing, but I'm a centrist. He makes some very fucking valid points. He's very, very polarising and controversial in what he says. But he seems to have real conviction in his assertive confrontational style, the way he puts things forward. It kind of reminds me, in some respects, a lot more aggressively. It does remind me of the way Joe Rogan approaches topics about being really masculine and manly kind of based topics, and I don't give a fuck, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about, do what I want to do. It's that same kind of approach. And I think he's tapping into that kind of audience segment of like the Joe Rogan audience, where they love Joe because he just doesn't give a fuck. You know, who he up for. He's going to do whatever he wants on his show because it's his fucking show.
I think the difference between Joe Rogan and Andrew Tate is Joe Rogan is genuinely curious. And he'll get scientists on, he'll get neurologists on, he'll get inventors on, and he'll ask them what they're doing, why they're doing it, which is really important, and what the outcome could be for the world. Whereas Andrew Tate seems to attack everything with like an aggression and a two-pronged sort of... He's poking his sword at it rather than trying to get it into the house, if that makes sense.
Do you think that's a persona he's taken on? Because obviously... What some people might not know about Andrew Tate is Andrew Tate is a 4-time world kickboxing champion. The guy is fucking rock. He's hard as fuck. And he was a fucking shit hot kickboxer as well. But do you think it's a persona he's taken from that? You know, a lot of fighters in professional sports, professional combat sports, build these personas, don't they? You think about like Conor McGregor's, you know, the fucking Paddy Pimblets, Nate Diaz's, the Rampage Jacksons. These people, they fucking build up these personas of like who they are.
Yeah.
It's kind of them. Yeah. But it's them dialed up to 1,000, and they just drive that forward in everything they do publicly because it makes them a brand.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what he's doing? Do you think he's using that and sort of dialing up who he is to make it?
Are you asking if he's a method actor and he's just in character the entire time?
Yeah.
Like Jim Carrey, you know, when he does his films. He's
and like his
in that zone.
Like his brother Tristan is his support star because he's doing a similar kind of role to reinforce it. But do you reckon you see it in that way?
I think sometimes you run the risk of talking about everything and saying nothing. So if you're constantly going out of your way and telling people that they're fucking lazy, because I've listened to a couple of his podcasts and he always brings that up. The reason I'm so successful is because I'm not lazy and you lot are fucking lazy. And you know, obviously, the podcast that he's done, I've no doubt in my mind that the numbers are banging because he's a very outward, take it or leave it kind of guy. But yeah, I don't know. He's an interesting character. I don't really know what else to say about him, to be completely honest. But
I watch a lot of Andrew Tate's content. It's hard not to, but I watch a lot of Andrew Tate's content, and before he became like. Because he's been out there for a good 6 to 8 months, I'd say, in a mass sense. I don't think people have been talking about him as much until about now.
Yeah.
But I first came across Andrew Tate on Reels and stuff, December, I think it must have been.
Right.
and that was mainly talking about money and wealth development stuff. Because I'm fucking well into like watching videos and that. I love all that kind of stuff. I'm a businessman. I love that. And this is before he really started what he was doing at Hustlers University. Before he was really mass publicised there. I feel like a lot his podcast, a lot that he does, is an engine for that. Obviously, Hustlers University isn't a pyramid scheme as such, but it is network marketing in the same way as like Greeny does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, you had him on your first ever podcast, pretty much, wasn't it, Chris? And it's that same kind of idea. It is network marketing. Is Hustlers University. To be fair, I'm switched on business wise.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to sign up just to see what it's all about. See if it's what they're saying is true.
Yeah, I get what you mean. There's a lot of people on YouTube that have signed up to it and they'll give their honest thoughts. But I always find with people that sign up, like there was a whole thing a couple of years ago. It was like I signed up to Bella Thorne and Belle Delphine, whatever her name was. I signed up to their OnlyFans, so you don't have to. And they would then critically analyse and review that content. And they would say whether or not it was worth buying. But a lot of these people are like commentary channels on YouTube, so they would go out of their way to say it's shit. And there would always be this bias of like negativity towards it. So I'd be interested to see what your actual thoughts are.
I would be quite inclined to try it, and I'll tell you why I would be interested to do it, and interested for us at some point in the future to sort of have a look at. Maybe we could do collectively. Yeah. We could share the split and then do it together. Yeah. I'd be interested to do that for two reasons. One, for exactly the reasons you said, there are people, especially when it comes to Andrew Tate, interesting enough, because he is so masculine.
Yeah.
Very, very right wing. Biased.
What's he called? Sigma. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Above alpha. Sigma.
Yeah. That's what he says, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's very much that way inclined. Very, very much, tapping into that male audience that is getting decimated really in all kind of media platforms.
Yeah.
A lot of people who do commentary channels on YouTube and who have done it for a while are very left. Very, very left. Because obviously YouTube is a very inclusive place. Andrew Tate does not come across as the most inclusive man in the world.
Yeah, completely.
That's right. I don't think he'd take that as offensively. He's not trying to be inclusive. He's trying to be exclusive because, let's be real, everyone likes to think that everyone could make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And everyone can have this wonderful lives. But actually, everyone can't do that.
Yeah.
It's a fucking lie. It's a myth.
Yeah.
That we can all make it out the ghetto.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I do find the guy really fucking interesting. First thing I would say now, straight, to caveat what I've just been saying for the last 4 minutes. I don't agree with everything he says.
No.
I don't have to agree with everything he says. I don't have to like everything he says. But I tell you what, I fucking respect the fact that he says it, because too many people are afraid to express their opinions, rightly or wrongly. It's not like a Tommy Robinson who was just chatting absolute shit.
Yeah.
And created one public persona and then decided that wasn't going to get him enough attention, so he tried to sort of do a watered down version of himself to get
to
popularity.
cater to the masses. Yeah.
I don't feel like Andrew Tate's pandering.
No, I don't think so.
But it's like this is just another string in his bow, though. You've got to bear in mind, this guy was absolutely broke. I was watching one of his videos of his brother talking about the fact they were broke and about getting KFC for his birthday, because when they were absolutely broke and needed to get protein, they'd go to KFC. They were living in England. They'd go to KFC, see people throw 2-3 pieces of chicken away inside a KFC. They'd gather all that chicken up, take it, cut it up, freeze it, and use it as their protein with rice. And that's what they lived on.
Yeah.
Second-hand, thrown away KFC chicken and rice. And they had no money for anything else.
It's amazing how that can light a fire out of necessity to perpetuate and propel your future. It's usually from rock bottom that people ascend to the top.
Well, there actually is some videos, I've seen them come up on Facebook, other people share them, of Andrew and Tristan Tate, when they're actually, 10 years ago, when they're really young, when they're starting out and they haven't got anything.
Yeah.
But the way they express themselves and extenuate themselves is exactly the same. And that's what I mean. It's not like he's been caught on camera, he's purposely filming. Some of it obviously is. Sometimes he's just been caught like randomly, like if I was recording you as a mate walking down the road. And the personality coming through is the same.
That's interesting.
And that's what I find really, really interesting about this guy, because that's why I asked you what your opinion was, because obviously I've had a look into these bits and pieces, probably more so than you yourself.
Yeah.
I think there is an element of dialing up to 11, taking that Spinal Tap approach. But I think this really is who this guy is.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that's why I like him. And, like I say, I want to get across this myth off about people in general. You don't have to agree with everything someone says and every opinion somebody says to like them, right? It's like, I'm just to veer off to a previous point that's not in the media now, but Roman Abramovich, Chelsea owner, getting fucking lambasted, all his assets frozen because he had connections to Putin as a friend. Yeah. Just because you're friends with a dickhead, it doesn't make you a dickhead.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with everything Andrew Tate says.
No.
But fuck, you've got to respect the fucking man to stay true to his principles, even if they don't align with yours. And do you know what people don't really get? Is that nobody has the same principles.
No.
I learned that in therapy. No one has the same set of core values.
Yeah.
You know, if you get cheated on and you're like heartbroken because someone's done something horrendous to you in your opinion, their core values might turn around and say to them it's absolutely fine because it's not a core principle to them. And we judge people by our own yardsticks all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why people find it so offensive when someone like Andrew Tate comes along.
Yeah.
Because even though he is very much asserting his own opinion and belief system and saying this is the right way and you're all lazy and all this kind of stuff, people don't like it because it doesn't match their belief system.
Yeah.
Rather than sit back going, okay, fair enough, that's your opinion. My opinion's X, your opinion's Y. We don't agree with saying things, but that's fine. You're entitled to have your space in the market. Because that's what this has become. That's what social media is. Social media is a cattle market for people, for belief systems. That's all it is.
Yeah. Speaking of that, before I forget, I've got to show you, after this, a song by 21 Pilots called Never Take It. It's all about data as currency.
Yeah.
And the way that they talk about things, kind of similar to your vocal style when you're in bands, they speak in metaphors. And it doesn't necessarily align to exactly what they think or what you think, but you can take things out of it. You
can paint your own picture, but with the colours they give you, basically.
Absolutely. And I'll have to show you that in a bit.
You fucking love 21 Pilots,
mate. They're so... I've gotten a bit bored of them now, to be completely honest.
That's because you've been binging the fuck out for like 4 weeks.
My Spotify, mate, is basically all of their albums. Like, I'm not even joking.
I'd shoot you not, guys, right? If you had Ben personally on any social media, I see this motherfucker share their music 4 or 5 times a day.
Trench, Scaled and Icy, Blurry Face, Vessel, 21 Pilots, the artist.
I can't give you that much, to be fair, because I'm always binging fucking like, you know, City is Ours or Glass Heart or any of my boys ripping my fucking boys.
Have you forgotten that you've got access to my YouTube account and my fucking history a couple of weeks ago was 7 Dust?
Yeah, I was just
times 600. It was like vocal cover, vocal reaction, bass cover, backing track, orchestral backing track. I was like, what the fuck is this? It's just this fucking...
He hit me up like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't even realise. I'd done an upload for the channel and I didn't even fucking realise I was still connected to the Bedlam channel. Yeah. And Ben was like, what the fuck? I was like, my reaction was like, well, fucking educate yourself, man. It's all there now, isn't it? It's laid out for you.
Watch it all in reverse. I love it. Fantastic.
Fuck it, while we're talking music, I'm going to plug. No, fuck it, I'm going to plug my boys, because I've always got to plug my boys. If you don't know who the City is Ours are, they're my favourite band at the moment. They're the best band to come out of Britain in the last 20 fucking years, 20 plus years easily. And you probably agree with that to an extent.
Yeah, I mentioned
Our could be arguable, but City is Ours is fucking absolutely insane. If you don't know who the City is Ours is, guys, it's all one word. Go and check them out. Mikey Page is a fucking incredible singer and rhythm guitarist. Ollie Dunkerton is, he's Peter Parker in the flesh. Yeah. Behind the camera and in front of it, what a legend. Shane's going to hate me for stealing that and putting that on the pod because he's been loving that fucking, he said that to Ollie. Stu Mercer is a fucking wizard on the guitar. They're just fucking such absolute fucking lads. So, yeah, really, really go check these boys out. They are fucking different class. So, back to Andrew Tate then.
Yeah, so to wrap up, I think he's got some good points, but when you say everything, like I said earlier, he's got an opinion on every single topic, and it's not as easy as saying you're lazy. Like currently, right now, as of time of recording, on the, the 16th of August 2022, I've got 2 jobs. This is one of my only evenings off this week. I am flat fucking out. I'm not lazy.
You're not lazy.
And I'm not rich.
You're grafting.
So, based on his ideology of you just need to work more, that doesn't work for me.
You are one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And because we are close, I could say things to you that you aren't necessarily going to like, and you can say things to me. I'm going to do this live.
I won't hit the microphone because it's an expensive microphone.
Right. What I'm going to say to you is this.
Yeah.
What Andrew Tate is actually saying, which is where people infer things at face value so much, it's the same, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with fundamental religious beliefs.
Yeah.
People don't like it. They say about Islamic terrorists. They're not Islamic terrorists. They're Islamic fundamentals. You get Christian fundamentals. Anyone who has a fundamental belief takes things at face value as factual information, and they believe that then to the extreme.
Yeah.
If you take what Andrew Tate says about you being lazy and not willing to do the work at face value when you're working your ass off, you're going to be offended. But that isn't what he means. That's not what he means. What he actually means is a very, very classic line that's used in sales quite regularly, and that is, don't work harder, work smarter.
Yeah.
That's what he means. This guy made his fortune initially by moving to Romania because the costs were cheaper, opening up a webcam girl facility where people thought they were talking to someone in their house one-on-one because he laid it out as such. And they were saying about this on the video I was watching. There's just 4 or 5 people managing it behind desks, and they were making a fucking killing. And it's genius. And then he had some money, so he bought 5 or 6 casinos down the road for fuck all because they're in Romania, and tourists come along and fucking wake all the money away in it. The man's clever.
Yeah.
And he's worked smarter than harder because he's seen an area in Europe which his cost is a tenth of what it would be in England, because he's not from England, but he was living in England for a long time. Actually, I think he might be English. He's seen his cost reduction and maximised his profit margin as a result of that.
Yeah, so he's a king of return on investment.
Exactly, and everything in life is a sales cycle.
Yeah.
Me and my brothers have always said this. Me and my 2 older brothers, we are career salespeople. So we always say everything in life, every interaction with human beings in life is a sales cycle, and everybody wants to get sold to, but they want to get sold to well. Whether you hate him or not, Andrew Tate is selling to people well. Because people are signing up to Hustlers University. They are paying him $49 a month. Sales as a service, subscription models, is where you make money. Recurring revenue systems. At $49 a month, right? If he had 10,000 people sign up to it, I think he's got more than that actually. 10,000 people signed up. That's 490 grand a month.
I want to say at least 5 times what you just said then.
Easily. Yeah. If his turnaround is, it's all about growth, because you retain everything you build. If he takes on 500 new sign-ups a month, that's consistent trend growth.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable with what he's doing necessarily long term.
Yeah.
Because eventually you'll get to a point where, like I say, not everyone can be rich. He knows that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I'm sure he also knows is not everyone is willing to go to the lengths that he is going to lay out for people would have to go to make the money. Or make the sacrifices. Yeah. But what he's, like I said, what he's really well getting at is work smarter, which means he's got to sacrifice a lot of things to do that. People like me and you can't do what he wants, what want people to do, because we've got too many close quarters ties that we can't afford to drop off when it comes to kids, family.
Just up and leaving, going to another country like Romania. Yeah.
Exactly. If we both co-parent with our exes, we can't just make that decision to up and fuck off, because we've got a whole other household for our children to think about. Yeah. When I say our children, me and Ben aren't a couple. We don't have children together naturally. We've got our own sets of children. But it's that kind of idea.
Other people do exist, guys.
But yeah, like I say, I fucking love the guy. Yeah. I think he is. And you know, I've got some friends who'll probably see this who'll be appalled that I'm saying that I love the guy. But I think my argument for loving him is quite recent. I respect the fact that he's so fucking honest and ballsy and says things that are going to rub people up the wrong way. But at least he fucking means them. Yeah, yeah. And you know, I don't. Yeah, I get that. I don't give a fuck if someone upsets me. I don't give a fuck if I hate somebody. I'll respect the fuck out of anybody if they're honest and true to themselves.
Back it up as well.
Yeah.
Don't just fucking throw random shit out there like all Chinese people don't have the right education. I think to fully wrap this up, in my opinion, when you start talking in absolutes, you run the risk of putting a blanket over everyone.
That's very a lot clearer than I thought you were going to be. I thought you said when you start talking about absolutes, you turn into an absolute cunt.
Absolute bedlam.
Oh, see what you did there.
But it's a very, I love Mike Malak from Impulsive. He went on H3 podcast recently.
Who was he fucking with?
Lana
Rhodes.
Lana Rhodes, yeah.
So fit.
I'd love to meet Mike because he's kind of hit that rock bottom and he's become quite successful through being an assistant to Logan Paul, and now he's kind of split his own ties with that, and he's actually a content creator himself. But he says to Ethan from H3, who's a very aggressive commentator on everything on the internet, when you speak in absolutes, you run the risk of trying to, put an agenda on everything.
But then, to caveat that,
yeah,
so many people now refuse to commit. And obviously we talked about
Yeah.
stuff like before the podcast. People refuse to commit to an opinion, to
Yeah.
a lifestyle choice, to a job, to a town, to a partner. People refuse to commit to the long term now. And that's a cancer upon society. We never used to have that issue.
Yeah.
You know, society was always predicated on on commitments, calculated risk and commitments. You commit to a job for life. Do you go into?
Yeah.
You commit to a partner
Yeah.
for life. Do you go into? You commit to a friendship circle for life. You commit to a football club for life. You commit
Yeah.
to hobbies for life. Absolute commitments. The problem now is we live in a world where it's gone too far the other way. There's no balance.
There's no loyalty.
Exactly. So everyone, you see all
Yeah.
these videos, these hoes ain't loyal. You're all fucking hoes, male and female. None of you are loyal. Can't stand joke. But it's legit truth.
Yeah.
People, you can't obviously you can't live your life based entirely in absolutes.
No.
But we need to have some fucking absolutes. It's like, you know, I don't mind. We talked a lot on the podcast about my personal situation before, my marriage breaking down, all this kind of stuff. Me and my ex are in juxtaposed positions because she doesn't live life for any absolutes. She's very wishy-washy. Nothing is permanent to her. And I don't mean that in a negative way. That is not a slant on Kat at all. But nothing is permanent in her life. It never has been. Whereas me, I've got a balance of things. I know some things aren't going to last forever. But that's predicated by the fact that I also know I do have some absolutes in my life. If I've got an incredible friend who I know is, you know, will tell me the truth, have my back no matter what, and I have their back, and I know that they're going to say only good things behind my back. That's an absolute for me. That motherfucker ain't going away.
Yeah.
It's an absolute that at some stage in every month I'm going to make an absolute twat of myself, do something ridiculous this week. I won't announce on here, obviously, but as I've already done this week, and piss a lot of people off in the process.
And it's Tuesday.
And it's fucking Tuesday. One day in, and I've made a cock of myself this week.
Yeah.
I've done something horrendous. Fuck. But you've got to have balance. There has to be absolutes. In the same way that, like Jordan Peterson says about men. Men aren't needed. We're necessary. Masculinity isn't a choice. It's necessary. And the world has become so hung up on not fucking offending everyone and tiptoeing on eggshells around everything in life that you're opening the gateway for an Andrew Tate to come in. Or like 10 years ago, for a Tommy Robinson to come in. These people aren't necessarily the final people. They are fucking indicators. They are fucking lighthouses in the night for what's to come. If you continue to not adjust society to allow balance from all perspectives, absolutes and temporary perishable belief systems, you end up in a scenario where soon enough we will only have extreme choices. Extremely flippant, hedonistic people. We'll end up. That's what the left will end up becoming, which is not what lefties are normally. But that's what it's slowly turning into. Or extremely absolute totalitarian people on the right. And that's what we're pushing this down. And this is where we go back to where we were in the fucking 30s and 40s, where you had communism and nationalism as the two most hated things. But actually, all the people saying they hate both were adopted both as their fucking two political options in every country under the fucking sun.
It's interesting that you mentioned totalitarianism, or whatever the word is, because I used to think that was a total law across the country that was governed by people. In reality, it's actually governed by the government, and they have a total view. It's basically, in my opinion, from a very, very uneducated perspective, it's communism and it's dictatorship.
Communism and dictatorship aren't the same thing. And this is a common misconception. It's something that I've got a good friend Sammy, we talk about this stuff quite a lot, and it always fucks me off how people have got this so wrong for so many fucking generations, and they're talking about something they have no fucking clue what they're on about.
Don't go too deep, because we're about to talk about Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, well, I'll go too
photos,
deep.
Alright?
Flea,
This is the real fucking
looking at some
subject.
footage of Flea that I was watching on that fucking train wreck, he could go pretty deep if he wanted to. Jesus, that man. But communism is the structure of devolved and evenly distributed power and wealth to all peoples at all times, with no particular head of state, but a council of state. That's what communism works as. Not the same as Marxism. Marxists and communists are two very different things. Not the same as Stalinists, actual or Leninists. What people forget is that Lenin was a Bolshevik. He wasn't a communist. Stalin was a Stalinist. He was a dictator. He wasn't a communist. It was just under the guise of communism. It's like like a Colonel Mao in China,
Right.
was the dictator, not a communist. Kim Jong-un is a dictator, not a communist. You cannot have a communist state with a head of state. It doesn't work. It's completely against the predication of the belief system. So I just want to get that out there now. Nationalism runs on the basis of dictatorship.
Okay.
So when you look at USSR and Germany, the German Republic, during the the 30s and World War II,
Okay.
both of them were the same. Neither of them, you could not say that one was communist or one was nationalist. You could quite easily have taken either leader and switched them to switch nations allegiances, right?
Yeah.
They were both dictatorships. Nationalism isn't a dictatorship either. Nationalism is, again, it's a sovereign belief of power to the people, generalist people,
Yeah.
but with a head of state. It's still not dictatorship. And this is where the common misconception of how these political structures work irritates the living fuck out of me. Because
Yeah.
people talk about subjects they have not got a fucking clue about.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't know what they're on about.
Oh, I don't know anything really about politics, but I know that what is currently happening in the UK is not good.
And what?
And you don't have to know everything about shit for it to be good. I don't know everything about my fucking car, but I know that it will get me from here to Southampton.
Well, the point you make is a good one, because you have to have a degree of an educated brain, like an educated palate for food. I don't have to be fucking Marco Pierre
That's
White to tell you food tastes nice.
That's a good analogy, yeah.
Having an educated palate. And the thing is with the problem with UK politics is this, and it's very, very easily explained.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to offend anyone when I say this. I'm going to offend you, but I'm going to say it because I have to say it how I see it. People are fucking idiots.
Yeah.
They believe what they see and what they're told.
Yeah.
If I was sat there on top of the Tory party, where most people are afraid of Labour for some fucking reason, and I'm being perceived as the people that, we will save the money and save the country from debt, because one time the Tory party did it, one time in history, I could turn around and tell you someone's a fucking anti-Semite. And it goes back to what I was saying about Roman Abramovich and Putin.
Yeah.
Just because John McDonnell and a few other people in the Labour Party were aligned with Jeremy Corbyn, right? And they might have anti-Semitic views, didn't make fucking Jeremy Corbyn an anti-Semite, did it?
So is that just guilty by association?
Yes.
Isn't that what the media thrive on, though?
Yeah, but that's what people keep buying into, because they're fucking morons. What happened to innocent until proven guilty? What happened to giving people the benefit of the doubt? Why do we consistently throw people under the bus based on who they're aligned with?
Do you think because of convenience-ness and just everyone has to be first, they don't necessarily have to be right nowadays, they just have to be quick, that we've lost that ability to actually form judgments on things?
Yes.
And we are sheep.
Yes.
Because it's actually easier to be a sheep than to be a shepherd.
It's another thing that Andrew Tate says.
Yeah.
People are plugged into the Matrix. This is what he means by the Matrix. He's not talking about the actual fucking Matrix. This isn't a simulation.
Yeah.
But people are plugged into what mainstream media wants them to do. And what our media does, and the US media does, and every other Western media does, their entire blueprint is based off one blueprint and one blueprint alone. And I said it in the last couple of podcasts we've done. It's Joseph Goebbels. How anyone who studied history does not fucking see this is beyond me. The propaganda machine of Nazi Germany between the 30s and the 50s, actually before that, that is the blueprint for how you get mass media to control mass populace.
Yeah.
That is what they do. Boris Johnson, I actually think Boris is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows his arse from his elbow. I think he's fully aware of that.
Yeah.
For the last God knows how many years, certainly since Blair came into power, the Prime Minister is a figurative kind of position. They're not the ones pulling the strings, really. They're just the face of the operation, if you will.
Yeah.
It's like like Lewis Hamilton might be a fucking brilliant driver, but he didn't build the fucking car that won the race.
No, that's it, yeah.
At the end of the day, it's that same concept. People like an entertainer. They like a showman. You put someone who seems happy-go-lucky, a bit bumbly, a bit funny as a showman in front of you, they'll believe it. How people have not seen that for the last 12 or 13 years, we are being raped consistently and, constantly as a populace under the guise of, we need to do it to save money. Meanwhile, we've had a government structure that has plunged us into greater debts than we have ever experienced as a nation. not saving money, spending money at an alarming rate, and then talking about privatising and selling off our public services, exactly like Thatcher did in the 80s. Meanwhile, we're all complaining about the fact that the other world countries in Europe have publicly owned services and are absolutely fine. It's a joke. It's a farce.
Yeah.
It's fucking hot shot and everything. We'll sell everything now to make a quick buck to paper over the cracks.
Short-sighted.
Yeah. And that's politics. Because politicians don't give a fuck about what happens to us in 20, 30 years'
when
time.
they're not in power.
No, they only care about looking good whilst they're there to keep themselves there. They don't give a fuck about anything else.
They'll quite happily take their career to the next level and do a load of speech. Like George Bush now, obviously I know he's from the US, but Tony Blair's still in some sort of career of talking politics.
Tony Blair has absolutely raped his position and his influence to become one of the richest men in the world. People don't realise that. That man is pure evil. Pure evil. He was a Tory in the Labour Party and corrupted the Labour Party inside and out. Yes, he brought them to power because they thought they did exactly what everyone else would do. If you can't beat them, join them. You got all these stiff upper lip Tories talk about being posh and tofty. We'll put a young man in there who actually similar kind of belief system and go more centric.
Yeah.
The problem is, none of these parties are actually overtly different from one another.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
And I've said this often, I am not a royalist by any stretch of imagination. I think it's a huge drain on public funds. But I would sooner dissolve government and have a monarch that we can't control telling us what to do, us fucking moan about it, but know that ultimately we don't have a fucking choice, than have a bunch of people to pick from, A or B, red pill, blue pill, when actually the outcome is the fucking same.
Yeah.
And the problem we've got now is the Labour Party would have more influence to get more interest for the working class man if working class people were actually at the top of the Labour Party.
Yeah.
That's why Jeremy Corbyn was so successful. Not because he was super working class, but because people know in the 80s, stuff like that, he was just a backbench politician. He wasn't a frontbencher. He was a backbench politician who went out there and he had strong belief systems that he had to deal to. He's not dissimilar to Andrew Tate. It's a cult personality.
Yeah. I will wrap this up as well, and I will shout out the time that this changes at the beginning of this episode, because I know people don't want to just listen to politics all the time. Apparently, I don't know if this is true, and I don't want this to necessarily go on for fucking ages.
Sorry.
Jeremy Corbyn, that's alright, in his entire career as a politician, apparently, allegedly, he filed for £18 worth of expenses.
That's true. That's legit.
And the other people in that area at that time are like 44k in expenses.
There is a slight caveat you've got to
fucking
put on
crazy.
that, is that you've got to bear in mind, in contrast, so I'm not going to throw shade at Jeremy Corbyn, but in contrast, for the largest chunk of his political career, he would have been a lower earner, and in a smaller constituency, because he's Islington North, so that's a small constituency.
Okay.
So his access and need for expenses would have been reduced to smaller.
Yeah, fair enough.
And he's always lived obviously relatively close to transport links, and the rules on expenses have changed a lot over the years. So
definitely.
when he would have been travelling to Parliament and going to Westminster previously, I think it wasn't until, and someone could correct me in the comments if this is wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think it was until 97, 98 actually that you could claim expenses for travel to and from the Commons and this kind of things. I think it was more sustenance. Like in general business, it would be if you're travelling for work and staying overnight. It was more sustenance. A lot of people found loopholes in the idea of owning second homes. And had living further afield and having second homes in London or something like that as a loophole to cover overnight stays and have an expense that way. That's why it covered mortgages.
Yeah, I feel that.
Most of the highest paying politicians, in terms of the highest rated MP salary, not ministerial, but like a member of parliament salary, is 84 grand.
Yeah.
Still obviously substantial.
Yeah.
But actually not as substantial as you might
Not
think.
for the stress that's involved.
From a ministerial perspective, I think the Prime Minister's salary is 180. So it's only 100 grand more than that. I say only, but 180 grand.
Yeah.
That's still not even breaking the top 20% of banking bosses in the UK.
Yeah.
In terms of their earnings. I mean, most of those are on $1 million salary. £1 million salaries, keep saying dollars. £1 million salaries.
Yeah.
And, the state of the economy really comes down to that distribution of wealth is completely off kilter.
Yeah.
And who I would love to see, I can't remember his fucking name now, the guy who's doing the RMT strikes is on the road, on a lot. Mick something or other, I think his name is. It'll come to me. I'd love to see him get into politics because he's a straight shooter. I think people would vote for him because he is like a normal everyday bloke. So, what do you think we're fucking doing here?
Yeah. That's a really good segue.
It's
My
a really good one.
subconscious, I would vote for Dave Blue Van Man
Oh man, I'd love to vote for Dave
as
Blue.
Prime Minister. I've been speaking to him quite a lot recently, and he is very straight shooting at the
He
moment.
really is.
He couldn't give a fuck if you watch his videos at the moment. He is being incredibly honest about government control, and his podcast, he's trying to get the MP of his local area onto his podcast, which the second that fucking gets uploaded, I will be spreading like fucking wildfire, and I will be listening to that within an hour of that getting uploaded, because he really does represent the people, in my opinion. Obviously, I don't know if he would actually run, but let us know, Dave. Would you be up for it?
I would be well up for it. I'll tell you what, you give me a really fucking good idea. A really good idea for a show. Probably a one-off. You know you get question time when I talk about politics. We should talk to Dave, a few
Yeah,
other
we should,
podcasters.
I'll do that, yeah.
See, you know a guy who obviously does live streams and Twitch streams and stuff like that where you get a big enough audience. We need a few people who get big enough live stream audiences.
Yeah.
And we'll do like
Yeah.
an online community question time, political question time.
Like a head of state. that
with
we just
podcasters
watched.
and stuff like that. Try and see if we can get some members
Yeah,
of parliament
yeah.
on. But have the online community as
Yeah.
the audience that posts
I'm
the questions.
thinking of a couple of people already on Twitch. I'm thinking of Athen, legend. Maybe Combat 26. Yeah, I'll have a think.
I think Robbie
I think
Knox
we
would be a
can
good
make this
person for
happen.
that. I'll tell you why. Not because I think it's particularly political.
Yeah.
He's just a bit of an everyman, isn't he?
Yeah.
A bit like Dave in a different way, but he's just a bit like a happy-go-lucky.
I really want him and Dave to do some more videos together, because they did like a whole life advice series, and it was fucking great. But yeah, there we go.
I think that's a bloody good idea. So,
we
Dave,
go.
if you're listening, yeah, question time.
I'll be linking you, Dave. I got you on WhatsApp,
Dave could
mate.
be our sexy Fiona
No escape.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Dave could be our host, Fiona Bruce.
Yeah.
So, topic number 2. Official
Right.
topic number 2.
51 minutes and 42 seconds.
Oh,
Holy
This
fuck.
fucking happens every time we do an episode. They're always long.
So, Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers has announced that he is no longer taking pictures with fans, and he would much rather just chat to people, because he sees pictures and meet and greets as transactional. However, playing devil's advocate, because I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers, they basically cemented my childhood in music, and it then made me veer off into other avenues of music, but I've always had a soft spot for Red Hot Chili Peppers. They're quite happy to take our money. They're quite happy to, I don't know, create a Patreon where people can literally support them directly. So I think if someone wants a fucking photo with you, they should have a photo with you.
I find it very interesting that someone like Flea would say this. And the reason I say I find it very interesting, and I'm going to throw some controversial opinions here. If this was Chad or John Frusciante, I'd back it 100%. But Flea is a brand. His name's not fucking Flea.
Yeah.
He's gimmicked himself his entire career. The coloured hair, the nudity, the toplessness all the time. Obviously, he's done that more than the others.
Yeah.
You know, the way he holds his bass. I was watching Trainwreck, Woodstock 99 documentary. Flea going on stage, stark bollock naked. Everything with Flea has always been a marketing gimmick.
Yeah.
As an artist, a gimmick to get himself over. So I'm not being fucking funny. He sold himself as a brand. Pictures with Flea as a gimmick is part of that brand. If he doesn't want to have pictures with fans, fair enough. Well, don't go out as Flea. I don't even know his fucking real name. Don't go out as Flea.
Michael Peter Balzari.
Okay. Well, go out as Michael Peter Balzari, wear a suit and tie, and sit down and say, sorry, I'm not playing for my character Flea today. I'm just literally doing meet and greets with fans, talking to them about the music and being a normal human being. Just separate the two individuals. And I don't want to hear anyone come up with bullshit. Oh, well, they are the same person. They're not the same person. It's a gimmick. Musicians are
Stage
synonymous.
name. It's a stage name.
Musicians, we're synonymous for fucking having gimmicks all the time. You know, it's like Anthony Kiedis would not have said this.
No.
Anthony Kiedis would not have said this. He's got some fucking interesting belief systems, Anthony Kiedis, but he would not have said this. I don't understand why Flea has. And I tell you what it is, and I tell you what I put it down to, and this is going to sound like some harsh shit, and I want to caveat what I'm about to
Yeah,
say.
I want your opinion.
I'm
Yeah.
going to caveat what I'm about to say with the fact that I love the Chili's.
I love them so much.
I loved late 90s shillies. I'm
Yeah.
not a huge fan of a lot of the earlier stuff. I didn't really
Yeah.
like Roller Coaster and all that kind of shit, but
Yeah.
Scar Tissue is still now one of my
Weird
favourite
album.
songs.
One Hot Minute was a weird album.
Californication was absolutely fucking unreal.
Yeah.
I hated the stuff they did with Daddy California. I thought it was all bollocks. I thought it was overly commercialised and massively
Stadium
sold out.
Arcadia.
Yeah, didn't like it. Massively sold themselves out. And I think they did that on purpose because they got so big, they thought, we saw the money. And it goes back to what I'm saying here and now.
Yeah.
But I think that he is a hypocritical piece of shit for coming out with bullshit like this. He has put himself in a public eye for 35 years doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, mate, too far on in the game. If you don't want to do it anymore, if you don't want to take pictures of fans, tell you what, retire. Because that's the only fucking way out of that job.
Especially nowadays, man. Like, everyone's got a fucking 700 megapixel phone and live streaming stuff. And, like, if you're against, I'll be for this discussion. I want to go to a fucking show and not see any phones. Because there's a time for phones. And people used to take lighters with them to gigs, didn't they? Now they use the torch on their phone. And I want to be in the moment at a show. I want to be in the euphoric people watching other people. Not, I'm going to film this entire set and then put it on YouTube. You're not in the moment if you're trying to get the best angle. What do you think about that?
What I love about this is actually organically, our sides are very much polar opposites here.
Yeah.
I think torches, I get that.
Yeah.
Filming and taking pictures while you're there in the moment, disagree with entirely.
Yeah.
I love the fact, right, when I'm at a gig, mainly for support acts actually, rather than the headliner, because obviously a lot of people go for the headliner.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. When I went to Underworld and we saw
City's
and we saw City's Arse.
Yeah.
Watching Kubrick's set and recording it, it was fucking amazing. And my thing was, I'm going to record a couple of songs, put it up there, because that's going to potentially make people see this guy that wouldn't have. And he, obviously he's we fucking connected anyway. But it's an example of that.
Yeah.
And people are going to be more aware of him. But like,
Okay.
But so that's one side of it. But
Yeah.
the other side of it, to caveat that,
Mm.
when I'm watching City, and I'm in that moment, and I'm right at the front, and I'm right next to Ollie, I want people to like. What I got really upset because Shane's normally always taking pictures and taking videos.
Yeah.
First song out the gate when I did Coma, cover to cover, Ollie put the mic on the screen with the back of Coma. I did the screen. No one fucking got it. No one got a picture or video of that. I'd be like, my life, that would be cover photo worthy for about 6 years.
Yeah.
It would have been banging. To capture other people in the moment, that's what I think the point you're missing. It's not necessarily about not being in the moment. It's about capturing that family feel. You don't get that.
The energy.
But I think
given and received.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think it differs genre to genre as well.
Yeah.
And that's not me being a slant on anyone who prefers hip hop or rap, because I actually like everything. But I think it's very different outside of the metal community and the alternative community. And I'm not trying to be, exclusive to anyone. It's a very inclusive community that we're part of.
Yeah.
But it's different in rock music.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all about we are one fucking big, massive family. If you don't want to be a part of that, it's fine. But don't fucking come in here and corrupt our family. We're one family, and we all want to capture everyone in the moment and in that energy. And there's nothing like that.
Eminem has stopped participating in this entire conversation. He said, if you want to watch me live, you'll leave your phone in a locker. And I think Billie Eilish has recently done something like this as well.
Billie Eilish doesn't have enough notoriety or enough longevity in the industry to even have an opinion, so she should wind her neck in.
Well, you say that. She played, I don't know if this is 100% true. She played a fucking massive venue. I don't think it was Wembley. It might have been Ali Pali. And she said every single food outlet within a 5-mile radius of this gig has to go vegan. And everyone went, okay.
I don't get it. Right.
That's influence.
We'll put it in contrast, right?
Yeah.
So as everybody knows, I always talk about it because I'm like the guy from League of Gentlemen talks about his band Creme Brulee. I play the Camp Festival, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't give me the right to walk to any fucking pub on a Saturday and Friday night when there's a cover band playing and say, oh, you need to do this with your sound and do this, and go walk up and tell them what to do and tell the venue what to do, because I did one big gig one time.
Yeah.
Billie Eilish is I can't say she's a nobody, but she's a nobody yet.
Yeah.
Really. She's had a couple of minutes. She's nobody yet. Adele, if Adele come out and said that, now she's been around for fucking 15 years, smashing it, fair enough.
Yeah.
Billie Eilish isn't anything yet.
No.
Eminem, he's a hypocrite. Fucking hypocrite. Who the fuck is he? Now he's got the money. Now he's got the life. Now he's lived the dream. Now he is the biggest rap artist in the world. You know, because talking in terms of consistency.
Yeah.
But he lived in a trailer park. Who the fuck is he to tell, you know, Joe Bloggs coming off the trailer park himself and going to watch his gig, who just wants to get a picture of Eminem? That's all he fucking wants to do, because it's an inspiration. He's going to blow that up and put it in the background of his phone, his screensaver, while he's rapping into his own fucking phone trying to make beats. Who the fuck is he to tell someone they can't do that?
Yeah.
Stop being a fucking bellend. Get off your high horse. Get out your fucking ivory tower and let people do them. You do you, they do them. And that's half the fucking problem with this world. Everyone thinks they can tell everyone else how they can fucking live and what they are and not allowed to do. It's not like 1984 for the fucking music industry. Get your fucking head out your arse, you bunch of cunts.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say about the whole flea thing is the problem with cell phones and mobile phones and smartphones is we don't have any self-control. So
It's an addiction.
I'm now turning off notifications on certain apps because I don't care. Like my LinkedIn, every time I look at my LinkedIn, there's like 17 notifications, 4 messages from people trying to fucking headhunt me and stuff. I don't care. I'm happy. I'm happy in the job that I've got. I might start looking at some point in the future, but I am being very self-controlled with my phone now. And people aren't setting timers. And even if they are setting timers, they're overriding the timer when the time actually comes to 0. And it's about going to a gig, filming that one song, say like Foo Fighters play a B-side that they haven't played in fucking 16 years. Film it. Fucking film it. Great. Put it on YouTube, get 40,000 fucking views. But put your fucking phone away when you're not doing that.
I tell you what, you've raised a very valid point. I think that the age of social media, which is what we're in, has made us all become very much more reactive than proactive.
Yeah.
Before a mobile phone, if we go back when mobile phones started being big when we were younger, you were proactively texting someone, proactively calling someone, proactively putting music on or playing Snake. That's what you did.
Yeah.
Now it's a case of, oh shit, this has gone off. Everything is a reactive process for minor dopamine releases.
Absolutely.
We feel like we need to instantly respond to people, and if they don't, if we see that green dot on Messenger to say they're online, they don't respond to us instantly, then we start fucking beating ourselves up and tearing ourselves apart over it. I have come to the conclusion. I've been talking to friends about this, about platonic and non-platonic relationships. I make a personal point of engineering space for people. I do it on purpose. I do it on purpose because my time is valuable.
Yeah.
And your time is valuable. And if we're constantly repeating it to each other, I know you get annoyed at me doing this, so I do it on purpose. Not all the time. Sometimes I can just be flaky. But you need to know that I'm not always available.
Yeah.
I am finite. My time is valuable. In the same way, I need to know yours is.
Yeah.
Like, if I cancel on you last minute, you come in here, you'd be pissed off because your time is valuable.
Yeah.
And people forget the value in other people. Everyone has become selfish because of social media, and because they think they need instant gratification, instant reward, me. Everybody's time has value. Everybody's personality and opinion holds weight and has value. So, as a result of that, you need to have space for people to appreciate their value. How can I miss you if you won't go away?
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
It literally took me losing my marriage and my wife, falling apart for fucking 8 months, rebuilding myself to sit back and think, what the fuck are we all doing? And don't get me wrong, I'm the worst one for being on social media. I take pictures of everything and I post it up all the time. I'm trying to get better because some of the things I put on social media, I just see a meme and it's a quick share. We've talked about it. Unnecessary, inappropriate, and not the whole world doesn't have to see the things, the dark side of my humour. But if I go for a nice walk with my dog, well, can't I show people, oh yeah, I had a nice walk with the dog today? Or if I go and have a beer with my pal and I'm having a good time, had a beer with my pal and having a good time. Where it goes the wrong way is when people are faking it till they make it. And they go and find expensive cars to stand next to take photos to make out that they own it. If it's legit your life, legit things you're doing, and it's not pretense, or maybe a fake smile's okay, but it's not pretense in terms of what you're doing, then fucking kudos to you. Keep doing that shit, because that's what social media should be about. Look at my actual life. If you're filling the world with bullshit because you're so desperate to become rich, because you think by lying about what you've got, by pretending to be rich, will make you rich, you, sir, are a fucking moron. An absolute moron. And it goes back to what Ricky Gervais said a few years ago. What would you suggest to anyone who wanted to become famous? A reporter asked him. I'll tell him to go out and kill somebody.
Yeah.
Because if all you're interested in fame is fame and notoriety, be a serial killer.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting point because that's exactly what Ted Bundy did. Ted Bundy wanted to be known. That's why he was a serial
people
killer.
talk about it every day now. Yeah.
It's.
Yeah.
I boggles the mind. The psychology of society and the rate in which it's transitioning is wildly alarming and very, very dangerous. Because we've gone from, without sounding fucking really arrogant, a generation of people who are very, very switched on. Not woke, I hate that term, but awake to the world around them and all possibilities, because we had all possibilities as outcomes.
Yeah.
Very, very balanced our views and opinions as a result of that. To the next generation, are fucking idiots.
I think our generation now shares, but I think the generation after us, below us, whatever, they overshare. They mine the real world for content, and they'll put the content up.
Yeah.
And they won't perfect it. They won't make sure it's good. They'll just upload it.
And it goes
and
back.
it's almost like it's temporary because it's now off my phone, which has a certain amount of storage, which is now mental. My phone used to have 64 megs of storage, so I had to be very specific. My fucking text inbox used to fill up.
Commodore fucking 64s with 16 or 32 bits.
Yeah. But now
Look,
it's
this fucking big.
Now it's in the cloud. I can delete it off my phone. Temporary memories. But yeah, I don't know.
But Joe, it's interesting because we kind of got full circle on the topic about Flea.
Yeah.
And actually, I've kind of semi-changed my position on this now because actually, I actually think he has a point, depending on who you are. Which sounds very, very exclusive again. It's like everything's rolled back into the topics. It's like the Andrew Tate thing. It sounds like I'm excluding people to an extent. I am. But there are people who are taking photos and creating content for the sake of creating content because they think they can be content creators where they don't have the skill set necessary. Not everyone can do this shit. You have to have a particular skill set to talk in front of people, talk on camera and create and edit and all this kind of stuff. But if you're doing it because this is something to you, this is your moment, this is something you care about, it's something you're enjoying, you want the world, your slice of the world to know about it, then be my guest. I honestly think, and I am a firm believer, while we're still on this point of conversation, there should be no such thing as a public setting on Facebook or Insta or anything else for that matter. I think you should only be able to share your posts to your friends and nobody else. Because I think that's where the corruption happens. Yeah. Where people start publicly posting, they get a few hundred likes, unless it's an artist page that's on the Business Week.
I get that.
Because I had that for ages. When me and my ex split up, I would put things and make it a public post purposely to try and get her attention. Yeah. What fucking? But what is that? What was that? Who does that benefit? Nobody. Yeah. Nothing should be public outside your circle of friends on Facebook. At all. Full stop. Yeah. Period. Because why would you want some fucking weirdo looking at your posts you don't know? Some man sat in Somalia staring at your photos at 3 a.m. Weird. You don't want that. Nobody wants that. No. We're exposing our own private lives through ignorance. We've all become celebrities. It goes back to that cult of personality we were talking about before. We've all become celebrities in our own heads. Yeah. And we're not. Yeah. None of us famous. Yeah. Nobody's famous.
Yeah. Famous is an ideology, yeah.
It's a mirage. It's a myth.
And then you hear about these people that are rich and they're still not happy.
No.
So because that's the whole goal, isn't it? To get rich and to get famous and to become this influential figure of, hey guys, buy this Babyliss product or whatever. But then you find out that they're not happy and you're like, well, fuck, man. Like, the chess game can't be won to the point where the board's been fucking flipped and Robbie Williams, goes through bad times, and it's just this whole. Oh, shout out to the cat downstairs.
Marlene didn't approve.
Genuinely thought your kid was here then.
I did. I thought it was JJ.
Fuck. Yeah. But
ultimately, it goes. There's a quote from Donald Trump, actually, of all people.
Okay.
I'm gonna finish this topic on this.
Hail Mary.
I'm gonna do it. There's a quote from Donald Trump that I actually love about this. He goes, having more money doesn't make you happier, but it does make your life easier. It gets you better education, better healthcare, better quality of home, better quality of food, better quality of life. But it doesn't make you happier.
No.
And for Donald fucking Trump to say that,
Yeah.
That's one of the greatest quotes from a money man you could possibly fucking hear. And I think that's a great way to end the point where we basically talked around the whole point of cult personality there on both topics. So yeah.
No, yeah, it was a good chat. Last topic, and then we're going to sort your cats out because they sound like they're about to explode.
As Marlene's on heat, so she's been a massive whore.
Oh,
okay. She can't have another litter. She's already had 5, the dirty bitch.
Sponsored by Blue Chew. No, I'm only joking. I've got enough fucking sponsors. Pantera tribute show. So next year we've got Zakk Wylde and I think the drummer of Anthrax thinking about stepping in.
No, it's confirmed.
Yeah, with Rex Brown, Zakk Wylde, and Phil Anselmo. A lot of people are saying Vinnie Paul didn't want this, who's the original drummer of Pantera, so you shouldn't do it. However, I'd quite like to see that.
I would. A lot of comedy stuff going around saying how I saw a post go, it's not Zakk Wylde and the drummer of Anthrax, it's going to be Phil Collins on the drum and Tony Iommi.
Yeah.
I've got 2 opinions on it.
Okay.
I want to see it because I know full too well Zakk will really work to do this justice. In the same way that every night he plays with Ozzy, he really pays tribute to Randy Rhoads. I know he would pay tribute to Dimebag.
Yes.
The issue I take with this is a simple one. By the end, Vinny and Dime really didn't respect or want to be anywhere near Phil Anselmo because of his political beliefs.
Which is still a problem to
It's
this
still
day.
a problem.
Yeah.
It's still an issue. And the fact that that's how Vinny felt, and it's Vinny's band. He formed that. He formed Pantera. It's Vinny's band. Ultimately, Marlene agrees. Ultimately,
Preach.
Is it? I suppose the question should really: is it a slap in the face to the memory of Vinnie Paul for doing this, or is it a celebration of Vinny and Dimebag for doing this?
Yeah, I agree. It's about the narrative and the intent behind the celebration or the memorial of that person, people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Phil Anselmo's a complete dickhead, at a personal level necessarily. He's got some bad opinions, but he obviously loved Vinny and Dime for the longest period of time.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's better to leave the mystique alone and let sleeping dogs lie. And I'll give you another example. Very strong and very, a really commercially well-known example. Queen.
Yeah.
Queen should never have toured as Queen again after Freddie Mercury died. It's been a mistake.
Yeah.
They have become a tribute band of their own band.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now, I love Brian May, I love Roger Taylor.
Yeah.
But ultimately...
Go away.
And it's partly because I am a singer. I always take the opinion of the singer-songwriters, the songwriters who writes the majority of the melodies and the hits. If you don't have them, you don't have the band anymore.
Yeah.
Mark Tremonti knew that.
Yeah.
Alter Bridge is Creed with a different singer, but it's not Creed. Because Mark Tremonti fucking knew that.
What about
Scott Stapp wrote Creed's song.
Audio Slave, Soundgarden. Audio Slave was essentially Rage Against the Machine with Chris Cornell as the vocalist.
Exactly.
Rather than Zakk De La Rocha.
Same kind of process.
Completely different band though.
But I think what people do sometimes forget is Audio Slave. Chris had a hell of a lot more control and power over than he ever had at Soundgarden. It's a common misconception that Soundgarden he was in control of everything. He really fucking wasn't. He really wasn't in control of stuff that was going on at Soundgarden. They were very reactive in a lot of ways.
So sorry to interrupt, when Chris Cornell died, there was no debate about there was going to be a memorial for him, and it was going to be all of the bands he's ever been in. Temple of the Dog, Audio Slave, Soundgarden, even some of his solo stuff got covered. Same with Chester Bennington. There was no discussion that was going to even enter a public debate. They were going to put a fucking show on because their friend had died and their band member had died. This isn't that.
No.
I don't think the gig's necessary, but I do think it would be fucking cool to watch.
I think it would be cool, but I mean, I think the reason why I use Queen is exactly the reason why I use Queen as an example of this. I think Pantera could become a parody of themselves.
Yeah.
Inadvertently. I have no question that the musicians that come in for it
yeah,
will have nothing but good intentions.
They're very capable.
Are very capable,
Yeah.
very talented musicians,
Yeah.
and will have nothing but good intentions and want to be authentic to the music involved. But what happens if it goes well? And this is the question you ask.
I get that.
Phil Anselmo being a singer as well. What happens if it goes well and is commercially viable? Do Rex and Phil, they go, oh, hang on, we haven't been able to do this for fucking ages properly. We can make some fucking money here off the Pantera brand. Because it's a brand, they're the only surviving members who own anything in the brand apart from the Vinnie Paul estate. We can make some money off this. Do they start then trying to release new albums, new materials with session players, or reform the band and have it in their image? Because their image wasn't what the band was predicated on. Vinnie Paul drove that band. It would have been like, right? It would have been like when Eternal Endeavour was still a thing. If Chris had left the band, we got another drummer in, and me and Lloyd started driving it forward in the direction we wanted to go. Chris always drove the band. It was always Chris's. It was always Chris's direction. Ultimately, he had the final say.
Yeah.
It'd be like that. It doesn't make any sense. And Queen obviously was a brain trust, a collective, but Freddie was the driving force. And having Adam Lambert do it, perfectly capable singer, but he's not Freddie Mercury, so it's not Queen. It's a parody of Queen. So having different musicians, it's not going to be Pantera. It isn't going to be really Pantera. It will be Pantera for the night. But if they do anything more than this gig, it won't be Pantera. It will be a parody of Pantera.
So the two questions I've got out of this, because this is a good topic, because it hasn't happened yet. So it's not exactly a time sensitive, us riding the wave of Andrew Tate's popularity. Is will it be a one-off show, miss it, miss out, kind of like the Taylor Hawkins tribute show that's going to happen soon in the UK, and there's going to be some in the US, because obviously Foo Fighters declared both of these places as their homes. I hope your brother enjoys that, by the way.
Oh, he's buzzing for it. He's absolutely buzzing for it.
The questions that I want are, is this going to be a constant thing, like a touring band, like you say, a cash cow? And I also want to know what the catalyst for this discussion even birthing is. Because Vinnie Paul's been dead a long time.
This is what I was
and
about to
Dimebag
say.
Darrell's been dead for fucking ages.
It screams of a cash grab, a desperation to me. If it was fresh when Vinnie went, but obviously Dime's been dead since 2004.
He died at 27 years old, 2004, yeah.
I mean, ultimately, this screams of, not even so much Phil Anselmo, this screams of Rex Brown's got no money. It's what it just absolutely sounds like to me. And if it'd been 2 or 3 years ago, But do you know what? I'll throw some in there.
Yeah.
If I'm any of the members of Hell Yeah right now, I'm angry as fuck. Because where did these guys get off doing Pantera and a tribute and saying it's all about Vinnie and Dime? But Dime's been dead for fucking 20 years. And Vinnie fucking hated Phil Anselmo. And had nothing to do with him for fucking years. So where do they get off? Who gets them? Why did they get to do a tribute?
Yeah.
When the second band that Vinnie drove and made had to grieve the loss of their brother and friend, who they'd been very tight with, they hadn't had any fallings out really, and then had to try and carry on regardless. It's not like the Audio Slave Soundgarden thing. There's such a space of time.
Yeah.
But it's just it's a slap in the face. I think I think what they're doing screams of commercial cash grab to me.
Yeah, it seems random.
And I don't think it'll be a one-off gig.
No.
I think they're going to try and milk it for all it's worth. And I think part of the problem with that, and I think I can telegraph partly maybe why they're doing it. Look at the success of like Botanical having off the back of all of a sudden of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
They know that there's a generation, our generation of kids, whether they like to heard the band or not, would walk around wearing cool looking band t-shirts. Some people in our generation would do that. The next generation don't even know the music. That's all they do. So it's not like a contingent. It's all of them.
Yeah.
I'm being very generalist. Obviously, there are some.
I know what you mean.
But I think they can see the opportunity with Metallica t-shirts being back out of fashion, and thrash metal bands looking like boutique merch going everywhere, with people like the bands or not. Oh, well, we could put ourselves in that bracket.
Yeah, it's that resurgence, like Brendan from Wheatus mentioned in the episode previous. Like, we got a resurgence of popularity because One Direction covered Teenage Dirtbag. Wheatus didn't ask them to do that. They wanted to cover it, and it then boosted Wheatus's numbers and made them relevant again. But it's about what you do with that space of relevancy, sudden relevancy of waking up one morning and realising you're fucking trending on Twitter. It's what you do in that 48-hour window to capitalise on that. Like, I've done some pretty successful videos on this, and I've done some pretty successful episodes with some pretty big bands and artists. But if I'm then gonna stop uploading, or I talk about mushrooms for fucking 4 hours by myself, sat in my bedroom, and people are gonna be like, oh, well, he's fallen off. And I think Pantera have fallen off, really. They've been quite dormant for quite a long period of time, other than a couple of covers, like people honouring Pantera. But I don't know. Weird.
It's a tricky one. I had a point and it's completely gone through my bright mind.
What do you think out there in the world?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
There is a video, it's a video I shared a few days ago. I have to show you after we're done recording.
Okay.
And it's got real, it correlates this nicely. It's probably a good way to sort of finish up this topic, actually.
Yeah.
It's Vanilla Rice. Talk about
Okay.
pop culture.
Yeah.
And he's saying pop culture doesn't exist anymore. Social media's killed it. There's been nothing new from the 90s, and that's why people keep rehashing things from the 90s and can't get over it. And 90s is the best decade for music, fashion, and the combination of both in music and fashion, because it doesn't exist anymore because social media has killed pop culture. And I think he's absolutely fucking bang on the money. There is no reason why Botanical in their fucking mid to late 50s cannot fucking sit down and be granddads. And you know, Rolling Stones are still fucking rolling, rocking around, doing their thing. Paul McCartney hasn't been laid to rest. Wish he fucking had, cunt. All these bands, these aging rock bands.
Yeah.
Kiss, forever saying goodbye, apparently.
Yeah.
You know, Motley Crue coming back. There's a reason why we keep bringing back these bands from the late 80s and the 90s. Because we've got nothing else. Because there's nothing new, there's nothing fresh. The reason there's nothing new and there's nothing fresh, there can be no underground scene. There is no hidden music scene anymore where things bubble up from.
Subculture.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Things are driven by murmurings on the street.
Yeah.
And social media has eradicated that. Now, I would say I can't blame Mark Zuckerberg for this, because MySpace and Bebo and things like that existed before. The difference thing is, no one was on MySpace 24 hours a day. You had to go on your PC for MySpace. Even if it was going to have an app, you wouldn't have been, because it was just a page. You didn't IM people on MySpace as such. We could, but no one really did that. You'd leave comments on people's page, listen to what track they changed the track to, and look at the pictures.
Well, MySpace had bulletins.
Yeah.
Which were like 24-hour sort of text stories saying, hey guys, I'm going to be at the No Fort tonight at 6 p.m. Bring your own booze if you fancy it.
Have you logged into your MySpace recently?
No, I might have to.
I had a look at mine last year because they completely revamped it. It's still a thing. And it's really music driven now.
Yeah.
It almost feels like a secret community for musicians.
Yeah.
It's what it feels like.
Well, that's initially what it was. Or towards the end of it was.
Yeah, because all the fucking dickheads were
Yeah,
all on
yeah.
Bebo. You know, all the music kids, not the scene kids, were all on MySpace.
Yeah, I think what would suck me back into MySpace is memories, and that's the reason I still use Facebook. Is I like looking at what I posted 7 years ago, immediately hating myself to start the day,
Yeah.
deleting the fucking app off my phone, driving to work, and then feeling like I'm missing out, and then reinstalling the fucking thing.
But that's that dopamine release,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's
But,
like
I mean, I love
cringe
memories.
of like, why the fuck did I tell everyone on the internet that I've just found a pack of custard creams?
I literally
What
look
the
at my
fuck?
memories and go back as the furthest ones you get. Because it's weird how they select the memories. I don't know what the algorithm is. Because everyone posts everything. You know, I've been on Facebook fucking since 2008.
Yeah.
I'm sure I posted at least one post, if not multiple posts, every year on that day. And it selects a few odd ones. And I look back at it and I read something and I think, fucking hell, you're a weird kid, John. And that's literally what I do. I look at it and I think, you were a weird kid. But 18-year-old me would have looked at 8-year-old me and said the same thing. Do you know what I mean? But MySpace, I think some of the stuff you put out historically you would have had like, communication-wise, it's still in there. And what's the weirdest thing about MySpace is,
Yeah.
knowing that all of these people haven't logged into there so long, people you're friends with on Facebook now who've got up-to-date profile pictures, and you don't used to go back so far, you log into MySpace, you see people's profiles from 2003, 2004, when they're so much younger.
Oh.
I tell you what, it'll blow your fucking mind.
No, it's frozen in time, aren't they?
I've got this thing, when I think back on memories, even when I think back like Fragglefest, and I think back to the ITV Fixers thing we did, right?
That's my memory.
Oh man, that's weird.
That is fucking strange.
That's fucking crazy.
So, 12 years ago today, 16th of August 2010, John's just mentioned Fragglefest. My status is Fragglefest was awesome, couldn't have gone better, seriously can't thank Sanctuary, which is John's old band, enough. They did everything. They pretty much bought the entire backline and did all of the sound for the entire day.
Oh,
I'm
so
now
drunk.
forever in your debt, and now I'm staying at your fucking house. What the fuck? Now Desert Rose are on a bit of a break, which we probably fucking needed, until Outside Band at Ferry Bridge, which is now demolished.
Yeah.
On the 4th of September. Thank you so much to all the bands that played and all of the people that showed up. Mate, people showed up for that fucking
I fell in
gig.
love with Guinevere that day.
People showed up. If you build it, they will come.
Mate, they did. Me and Chris were smashed from lunchtime. How we ran the sound that entire day, I don't know.
I would put it on record as well. I'm not even afraid of this. Me and Hex are probably two of the most polarising people you'll ever meet in your life, and we pulled quite a big crowd to that.
You did.
Because it was free.
When Rumble Fish Twist were playing, that place was fucking packed to the rafters. I mean, obviously we went on last, which I was buzzing for, and we still had loads of orders. I remember when I bring up again, if I was
You were
talking about
fucked,
that.
man. You were so
I
drunk.
was steaming. Chris couldn't play the drums.
You're fucking. What was
I
it?
still
Was
managed
it
to get it
Lloyd's,
done.
Lloyd's dad or Lloyd's uncle was like, you fucking.
That was Chris's dad. He
That
was our
was it.
manager. He was raging.
That was it.
Me and Chris had been drinking all day. I got the blame for it because Chris is
We
still a little
discussed
bit
this in
underage.
episode 2.
We did.
Yeah.
And we were fucked. But I had one less beer than Chris did
Yeah.
because I went for a cigarette. So I just about pulled a performance up my arse. He was mullered. It's the worst double pace pedal I've ever heard anyone play, but it was fucking hilarious at the same time.
Yeah.
But my lasting memory of that gig will always be for the rest of my life. Sitting there during Rumble Fish Twist just before your set
Okay.
and watching this blue-haired fucking goddess just walk in the room. I'm like, what the fuck? Who are you?
Yeah.
And like, just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Love at first sight. And then when Hex introduced me to Sam, I was like, fuck. And you know what? I've always had something for her for all the years since. I mean, I was fucking 18 then.
Yeah.
So that's first. Yours says 12 years ago. It must be 13. I think that must be off. It must be 13 years ago because I was 8. No, I was 19. I tell you what, it was 12 years ago. I was 19.
Yeah.
And fuck, man.
Yeah.
I've never ever met such a fucking creature in the flesh like that. Pay me attention. Man, you'll remember.
Yeah, yeah.
She was eyes locked on me. She saw me go up and perform. She was like, fuck, this guy's hot. Yeah, I am, baby.
There we
Yeah,
go.
I am. It was weird how it never really
That
ever
is-
came to be anything more than it was. It's
That's
just
a
the funniest thing.
That's a hell of a coincidence. But yeah, if you've got Facebook, check out your memories, because there used to be an app called Time Hop, which basically outsourced your memories.
It was so jank.
Yeah, but now Facebook's built in, and there's some really cringy shit on there, and I think that's kind of what the internet is meant to be.
The internet is, to quote Jay Silent Bob Strike Back, it's all about watching pornography or giving abuse to each other. That's pretty much what the internet is, and that's what memories are for. It's like looking back at people abusing. We're all self-hating creatures, really.
And cat pictures.
Self-deprecating. Cat pictures, cat memes.
So, that is pretty much the episode.
We've gone for an
Yeah.
hour and 27 minutes. 15 minutes, which are Andrew Tate.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was that was kind of the reason we
it's like-
got
it's
to
like key topic
got
conversation.
together. Spoke to you last week whilst I was getting a McDonald's, and I said, "Do you know what? Do you fancy it? And I'll come around your house and you'll show me how to feed the pets.
Yeah,
whilst
I'm
you're
going to show
away."
him how to feed the horse. Feed the horse?
Yeah.
No, I haven't got a horse. I'm going to show him how to feed the dog later. That is not an innuendo, although I wouldn't put it past him. But we said, we said in messages that we would call this episode just off the loose topics, the cult of personality. And weirdly, I actually think through the last 90 minutes, we've really, really covered the full spectrum of the cult of personality in the modern age. We've got every angle from, polarising figures with controversy equals cash, affecting people, political spins and propaganda, social media deteriorating people's brains, the separation in generations. I think we've covered everything, everything possible about modern Western society.
It's been really good.
Basically, you're all cunts.
There we go. What a way to end.
Okay.
Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to rate this 5 stars on Spotify if you feel it necessary. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised if you gave it 2. But,
Feel free to send nudes.
Yeah. Go on John's Fiverr. He's an awesome editor, and if you give him a bit of money, he might actually produce some fucking results.
You don't give me enough money for that.
No, I don't give you any fucking
Exactly,
money.
that's why you don't get any fucking
I
results.
thought you fucking beer and pizza, you little shit.
I give you somewhere
Fuck
to
this.
live, you bitch.
So yeah, check out John's Isolation Booth podcast. And thanks for listening, watching, viewing and subscribing. And I've got someone on next week. I cannot remember who they are. And it will be the end of season 9.
So what else you can do is you can go on John Belfield Music and listen to all my lovely covers.
Nice.
a man who loves a piano cover. If you like a bit of a power ballad, right, you want to have a little cry in the bath, right? Think about how he wronged you. John Bedlam music's for you.
There we go. Who have I got on next week? That's going to bug the fuck out of me. I want to say Smiley Dave, who's on Twitch. He'd be a good person to speak to. Smiley Dave UK, the world's happiest person, Twitch streamer, podcaster, just an all-round good time. He does a podcast with the singer of Preston Mecco.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, shout out.
But yeah, that's your mission for the next few weeks, is to come up with a wide group who could be panelists on social question time.
Yeah, I'll do that.
And we'll whittle it down to our favourites and see if we'll just go out and target them aggressively. I reckon if we can get someone like Dave on, a few other people like that, we might even be able to reach out to a Russell Brand and get them involved. I think somebody you'd be interested in.
Yeah. You don't ask, you don't get, people.
Exactly.
That's how this has survived 120 fucking episodes. So yeah.
That's how Ben survived 130 minutes. 130 minutes? Well, 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It's 130. I read it wrong.
Feels like 130 minutes.
Maybe it's a base 10, Ben.
Maybe.
Or base 12, like all these fucking bullshit. 9 plus 10 is 19, you bastards. Not 21. Fuck off.
That's an absolute I can get behind.
Fuck you and your 21.
Cheers, everyone. Take care. Keep it real. But most importantly, keep it bedlam.
Indeed.
Bye-bye.
Absolute Bedlam.
Archie Soul, as always, hooking me up with the beard wash from Duke Cannon. It's got a hint of oak barrel and Buffalo Trace Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskey. I know that's backwards, I'm sorry. Got some more Duke Cannon here. Same again, Buffalo Trace. This is a bar of soap, as I've mentioned numerous times now in guest episodes. That's a big boy. Bedlam 2022, once again, will get you 20% off everything on archiesoul.com. And for Christmas, I was very kindly given a £25 bottle of Anthony Sea Kelp Scrub, which is absolutely awesome, and I love it. So that's Archie Soul, www.archiesoul.com. And finally, we have Made Sure, as always. I love fragrances. If anyone knows me in real life, I love candles, I love scents, I love walking into a house and smelling like gingerbread or lemon and lime or strawberries. And I don't think that that's necessarily something that's appreciated by men. And I think it should be, because there's nothing wrong with it. It's always seen as very girly. However, I think that we should normalise it for men. So madesure.pigcartel.com. Bedlam 20, not Bedlam 2022, for 20% off your order. We've got wax melts to suit every emotion, every feeling. We've got Jamaican Me Crazy. This one, you can smell it through the wrapper. It is amazing. It's a really left field scent. It's quite a tropical, fruity smell. We've got lemon and lime. If the camera wants to focus, that would be fantastic. Lemon and lime. There we go. Smell that one as well. They're really powerful, but they're really like sort of punchy, and they're meant to be sort of chunked and sort of separated. You're not meant to put the whole thing in your burner. So yeah, there we go. Pink Flamingo as well is the last one I've got to hand. And we've got Avabath here. Avabath. So yeah, just mind-blowing. Everyone that I've ever sent any Made Sure stuff to has absolutely loved it. And I think that 2022 could be their year. Hopefully going to look at doing some events and some fairs when COVID finally jogs on. But yeah, I'm really, really proud of Hannah for making just these amazing snap bars, wax melts. We're looking potentially at getting burner kits, but that's a little bit
way down the road. A lot of people say, you know, how do you use them? And it would be good to do like an all assembled thing. I think Hannah's looking at doing some spring scents soon. And then we'll look into doing it as a seasonal thing, you know, spring, summer, autumn, winter, Halloween, Christmas, that sort of stuff in the middle. But yeah, I absolutely love all my sponsors. I use all of the stuff myself, and I just try and be as genuine as possible with it, really. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I'm nearly at 30 subscribers, I think, and I'd like to get to 50 by the end of February if possible. I don't think that's an unachievable task. But yeah, thanks as always for listening, watching, and I hope that the guest that I've just had on has been interesting. So I will speak to you all very, very soon. Keep it Bedlam, and please support the show by supporting my sponsors. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Absolute Bedlam Podcast. Who? What? Where? Why?